Are you constantly chasing peace in your hectic life? If you're anything like me, you know that feeling all too well. It's that overwhelming sense of exhaustion, not just from physical tiredness, but from the emotional drain that sneaks up on us without warning. We often find ourselves running on empty, unsure of where our energy is going. But what if I told you there's a way to protect your inner peace, to stay grounded no matter how crazy life gets? The answer might surprise you, and it's rooted in the timeless wisdom of the ancient Stoics. Think about the Stoics for a second. These philosophers didn't just focus on surviving the chaos of their world. They thrived by mastering something far more powerful: control over their internal state. They understood that peace didn't come from controlling the world around them. It came from learning to manage their responses, their emotions, and their mindset. Fast forward to today, in a world that's more fast-paced and overwhelming than ever. That Stoic wisdom is more crucial than we can even imagine. But here's the problem. Many of us unknowingly make some common mistakes when it comes to our energy, and these mistakes are often what leave us feeling drained. Today, we're going to dive deep into these hidden energy drains, and I'm going to share how you can protect your vibe and keep your inner peace rock solid, no matter how much life tries to shake you up. Stick with me and trust me, you're going to want to hear every bit of this. And hey, if you find value in what we're discussing, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's a free, easy way to keep this wisdom flowing and stay grounded in the chaos. Let's get into it. 1 point: chasing peace in a hectic world. The power of inner control. You know that feeling when you just have to share everything that's on your mind? Whether it's your excitement about a new project, venting frustrations about your day, or simply wanting to connect with others, it feels natural to want to unload, right? Whether it's chatting with friends, sharing on social media, or confiding in family, we often feel the need to express ourselves. But here's the catch. Every time you share a piece of yourself, you're giving away a slice of your personal energy. And not every exchange, no matter how innocent it seems, is beneficial to you in the long run. The Stoics were big on discretion and mindfulness in communication. They didn't just teach that we should speak our truth. They taught that we should do so wisely. Not every thought needs to be expressed, and not every emotion needs to be shared. Why? Because true power comes from inner reserve, the ability to control when and how we express ourselves. This concept of right speech is not about withholding your feelings or pretending to be something you're not. It's about making intentional choices about when to speak and when to stay silent. Imagine asking yourself before you speak, is this necessary? Is this beneficial? Is this true? These questions form a powerful filter, allowing you to maintain your tranquility and keep your energy intact. Because when we overshare, especially in today's digital world, we open ourselves up to an avalanche of responses, some of which can be draining. Sure, sharing personal triumphs might invite support and empathy, but it can also open the door to envy, judgment, or unsolicited advice, which can quickly escalate into unnecessary stress and anxiety. As we touched on earlier, the way we share our personal energy has a profound effect on our inner peace. It's not just about what we say, it's about how we say it, when we say it, and who we say it to. When we overshare, we risk opening ourselves up to misunderstandings, misuse, and emotional exhaustion. The Stoics knew this well. They understood the power of keeping a fortress around the mind, a barrier that allowed only thoughts and words that aligned with their core principles to enter and leave. And in today's world, that same wisdom is just as valuable. When we think about protecting our energy, it's not just about being cautious, it's about being strategic. Every time we share personal information, we're not just revealing facts, we're exposing a part of our energy. Some of it will be received positively, but not all of it will. It might be misunderstood, misused, or worse, manipulated. The Stoics understood that our words are powerful, and they believed that true strength lies in knowing what to share and, more importantly, what to keep to ourselves. To adopt the Stoic approach in our daily lives means choosing to speak less, but say more. It's about valuing the quality of our words over the quantity. When you choose to share, do so with purpose. Ask yourself, will this sharing improve the situation? Will it contribute positively to my life and the lives of others? If you're unsure, that information may be better kept within the serene sanctuary of your own mind. By practicing selective sharing, you're not just protecting your privacy and peace. You're also cultivating deeper, more meaningful connections with the people you do choose to trust. This isn't about withholding. It's about sharing thoughtfully in ways that strengthen relationships rather than exhaust them. You create a circle of interactions that enriches your spirit instead of draining it. The people you connect with will feel that difference. Genuine interaction will replace superficial exchanges. Next time you feel the urge to spill your thoughts, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself those Stoic questions about necessity, benefit, and truth. This way, you'll ensure that every word you speak contributes positively to your life and resonates with wisdom and purpose. Remember, this isn't about keeping secrets. It's about understanding the immense value of what you hold within and sharing only what will foster growth, understanding, and real connection. 2. The fine line between empathy and emotional drain. There's a certain warmth in being the person others turn to when they need to talk about their problems. It feels good to be trusted, to be the shoulder to lean on. But have you ever noticed how, after a long chat meant to help a friend, you end up feeling more drained than they do? It's as though you've taken on a bit of their emotional load, adding it to your own. While empathy is an incredibly beautiful quality, there's a fine line between feeling for someone and feeling with them, to the point where their emotional baggage becomes your own. This is where the Stoics' lesson on detachment comes into play. It's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about a thoughtful detachment that allows us to offer support without becoming overwhelmed by the emotions of others. The Stoics believed in being present, compassionate, and deeply empathetic. But they also knew the importance of keeping their own emotional grounding intact. Think about it. When we get too emotionally invested in someone else's struggles, we risk losing sight of our own well-being. We become so wrapped up in their pain that we can no longer maintain the peace we worked so hard to protect. The Stoics taught us that it's possible to offer support and care while remaining detached enough to avoid absorbing all of their emotional turmoil. By practicing this kind of mindful detachment, we can help others without losing ourselves in the process. 3. Staying strong without absorbing others' stress. The Stoic practice of emotional boundaries. Building on the idea of emotional detachment, it's crucial to understand why maintaining healthy boundaries is so important. When we begin to absorb the stress and struggles of those around us, we compromise not only our ability to be truly helpful, but we also risk losing our peace of mind. Imagine this. A close friend of yours is upset about a work situation. They come to you for support. You listen, you offer compassionate advice, and you try your best to comfort them. But here's the catch. If you carry that worry with you, if you continue to ponder it and feel the weight of it as if it were your own problem, you're not just being compassionate. You're taking on an emotional load that isn't yours to bear. This is a common mistake we often make in our relationships. We believe that by carrying someone else's emotional baggage, we're being supportive. But in reality, this only adds to our own stress and diminishes our ability to manage our own challenges. The more we internalize the struggles of others, the harder it becomes to maintain our own inner peace. The Stoics were masters at recognizing what is within their control and what isn't. They understood that while we can control our reactions, our emotions, and our decisions, We cannot control the feelings or circumstances of others. The moment we internalize someone else's emotional state, we allow something outside our control to influence our well-being. This is why practicing Stoic wisdom is so powerful. By recognizing the boundaries between what we can control and what we can't, we can listen to and support our friends without absorbing their emotional turmoil. We can be a pillar of strength, not because we carry their burdens, but because we offer a stable, calm presence. Often this presence can be far more comforting than any shared misery or emotional exchange. 4. Visualizing emotional detachment. One helpful way to think about this concept is to visualize it like a filter. Let empathy flow freely, but keep the emotional residue out. When you find yourself getting too absorbed in someone else's feelings, take a step back. Breathe. Remind yourself, I can care without carrying this. This simple mantra can serve as a reminder to maintain your equilibrium, offering support without sacrificing your own well-being. But it's not just about the mental practice, it's about setting emotional boundaries as well. It's perfectly okay to tell someone, I care about you, but I'm not in a position to take on any more stress right now. This isn't selfishness, it's necessary for your mental and emotional health. By maintaining these boundaries, you're not only protecting yourself, but you're also setting an example of healthy emotional habits for those around you. 5. The power of selective empathy. Integrating Stoic practices into your daily interactions doesn't mean becoming less caring or compassionate. On the contrary, it means approaching relationships with a balanced perspective. It allows you to remain emotionally available without becoming consumed by the emotions of others. The more you practice this kind of selective empathy, the better equipped you'll be to offer help from a place of strength and stability. And this, ultimately, benefits everyone involved. When we help others from a grounded, emotionally steady place, we offer the best version of ourselves. Not only do we protect our own peace, but we also show others that it's possible to care deeply for them without losing ourselves in the process. As you incorporate these practices into your life, you'll begin to notice how your relationships shift. They will become deeper, more meaningful, and rooted in mutual respect and understanding rather than codependency. This change isn't just about preserving your energy, it's about enriching your connections in a way that uplifts everyone, including yourself. 6. Letting go of emotional baggage. How to move on from the past. Let's dive into another aspect of emotional well-being, the baggage we carry around. I'm not talking about the physical things, those clothes piled up in the corner, or that box of old mementos. I'm talking about the emotional baggage we often carry long after its usefulness has expired. What happens when we don't release this emotional weight? How does it affect our inner peace, our relationships, and our ability to move forward? As we dig deeper into this idea, it becomes clear that the emotional baggage we cling to often serves no real purpose other than to weigh us down. We've all been there, right? We find ourselves mentally replaying old hurts and grudges, those memories of betrayal or disappointment that refuse to let go. It's like being stuck on a never-ending loop, and every time the story replays, it chips away at our peace of mind, draining the joy out of the present. But why do we cling to these past pains? And more importantly, what can we do to break free from them? The Stoics, wise as they were, taught that the past is beyond our control. They believed that dwelling on it wasn't just unproductive, it actively prevented us from achieving personal peace. According to them, every moment spent ruminating on past hurts is a moment lost in the present, a missed opportunity to create new, positive experiences. Picture this. When we cling to past pain, we're giving that history the power to dictate our present emotions and actions. We're letting something that happened long ago control who we are today. Imagine paying a hefty price for letting the past control your current life. It's an emotional price that, unfortunately, many of us are willing to pay, often without realizing it. So, what's the alternative? The Stoics would advise practicing what they called the art of indifference. Not to suppress our feelings, but to choose not to allow things that no longer serve us to affect our emotional state. This doesn't mean you should forget or excuse the wrongs that were done to you, but it's about choosing to not let the pain continue to impact your life. It's about recognizing that you can release the hold those past events have on you, freeing yourself to live more fully in the present. Now, how do you start to let go of these old emotional wounds? The first step is acknowledging that while the past events were real and they did hurt, they don't need to keep causing you pain. Yes, it's tough, especially when the emotions are deeply entrenched, but there's great power in realizing that you have the ability to stop reliving that pain. One powerful practice is forgiveness, not just towards others, but towards yourself as well. And this type of forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened or letting people off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight of anger and resentment. It's a gift you give yourself, a declaration that your happiness in the present is more important than holding on to the past. The Stoics would say that this is true wisdom, the ability to recognize when something no longer serves a positive purpose in your life and choosing to let go of it. Additionally, a helpful step is reflective thinking. Look back on the painful experiences and ask yourself, what lessons did I learn from this? How have these struggles shaped me into who I am today? This shift in perspective, turning your story from one of suffering to one of survival and growth, can be incredibly empowering. It transforms you from feeling like a victim into a person who is in control of their narrative, someone who has turned challenges into lessons. Finally, consider sharing your process of letting go with someone you trust, or even journaling about it. Sometimes just verbalizing or writing down what you're experiencing can help release the grip those old wounds have on you. It's like unpacking a heavy bag you've been carrying for far too long. By letting go of the emotional baggage, you create space for new, more positive experiences to take root. So as you go through your day, remember this: the past doesn't have to control you. You have the power to release it, and in doing so, you make room for peace, growth, and joy. It might be a slow process, but each small step you take towards letting go is a victory for your emotional well-being. 7. When you say yes to everything, you say no to yourself. A Stoic perspective. After learning how to let go of emotional burdens from the past, we begin to feel lighter, as if stones are being lifted from our shoulders, one by one. But the journey to protect our inner energy doesn't end there. There's another kind of burden, more subtle yet just as heavy, that many of us carry without even realizing it. The habit of saying yes too much. Have you ever been in this situation? Someone asks for your help, and you nod before you've even thought it through. Your mouth says sure, while inside you're silently screaming, I don't want to. Sound familiar? We grow up in a society that values helpfulness and selflessness. And let's be honest, it feels good to be needed, to be the reliable one, the go-to person who can handle anything. But here's the thing. When you say yes to everything, you're slowly saying no to your own well-being. Stoic philosophy teaches us the importance of moderation and self-discipline. True freedom, according to the Stoics, doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from living according to reason, not impulse. And let's face it, many of our automatic yes responses are not really thoughtful choices. They're driven by a desire to avoid conflict, to be liked, or simply to dodge the discomfort of disappointing someone. But Stoicism encourages us to look past the short-term awkwardness and ask, what's the long-term cost of this yes? Every yes is a slice of your time, your energy, your attention. When you agree to something, you're inevitably saying no to something else. Maybe it's time with your family, maybe it's your personal rest, or maybe it's a project that fuels your passion. Over time, these missed opportunities add up. They can lead to burnout, strained relationships, and a nagging sense that you're living everyone's life except your own. So how do you turn this around? It starts with acknowledging your right to set boundaries. Stoicism isn't about being passive, it's about being wise with your actions and choices. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Then ask yourself, does saying yes to this serve my values? Will this drain me or empower me? Am I doing this out of guilt or out of genuine choice? If the answer makes you uneasy or resentful, that's your signal. It's okay to say no. Saying no isn't selfish, it's self-respect. Begin practicing healthy boundaries. It might feel awkward at first, but the more you do it, the freer you'll feel. Try saying, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I don't have the energy to give this my best right now. I appreciate you asking, but I need to focus on some personal priorities at the moment." These responses don't make you a bad person. On the contrary, they show others who you really are and invite them to respect your limits. You weren't made to carry everything, and you don't have to. When you dare to say no with intention, you're giving yourself a much more meaningful yes, a yes to balance, to self-worth, and to the quality of life you deserve. So remember, every yes should come from a place of clarity, not pressure. And sometimes, no is the most loving answer you can give to yourself. 8. Saying no doesn't make you mean, it sets you free. Previously, we talked about the power of knowing when to say no, that each no is actually a yes to something more meaningful, something that matters more to your balance and well-being. Now, let's take a deeper look at another common trap many of us fall into: the constant need for approval from others. Have you ever said yes to something you didn't want to do just to avoid disappointing someone? Or agreed to a favor even when your gut was screaming no, just to be seen as nice or reliable? If so, you're definitely not alone. Many of us carry a fear of being disliked, of letting people down, or simply not fitting in. That's why learning the art of saying no, respectfully but firmly, can be truly transformative. It doesn't have to be rude or confrontational. Sometimes a simple line like, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to this right now," is all it takes. Clear, respectful, and self-assured. Remember, every no you say is also a yes to something else, to your own time, your mental health, your priorities. And here's the surprising part: as you get better at setting these boundaries, people may actually start respecting your time more, not less. Your yes will begin to carry more weight because it comes from intention, not obligation. This builds your credibility. People start to see you as someone who acts with purpose, not impulse. Someone dependable, not because you always say yes, but because when you do, you mean it. Your relationships become healthier, grounded in mutual respect rather than silent resentment. Now, let's pivot slightly from saying no to others to another issue that's just as draining: living for external validation. Have you ever found yourself checking your phone a little too often after posting something online, watching the likes and comments roll in? Or maybe you've changed outfits multiple times before a party, worrying what others might think. If yes, then you've already experienced the subtle pull of approval-seeking behavior, and it's totally human. We are social creatures. We all want to be accepted, appreciated, and liked. But Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of self-mastery, offers a profound counterpoint: that if we live only for the opinions of others, we lose something essential: our freedom. The Stoics believed that true contentment doesn't come from applause, praise, or external validation. It comes from living in alignment with our values and reason, regardless of who's watching. In their view, the more we depend on others to feel good about ourselves, the less free we truly are. We become trapped, not in chains, but in the shifting sands of public opinion. Think about how much emotional energy we spend anticipating how others will perceive us. That energy, which could be used to strengthen our character, deepen our purpose, or nurture our peace, gets poured into trying to be liked. And with each decision we make for approval's sake, we drift a little further away from who we truly are. The Stoics would encourage us to shift that focus from outward approval to inward clarity. Ask yourself, am I living for myself or for the approval of others? This question alone can be incredibly revealing. Are your choices aligned with your beliefs, or are they designed to perform for an audience? This isn't about becoming cold or indifferent to others. It's about becoming grounded, about building a solid sense of self that doesn't rise and fall with every opinion or judgment. Because at the end of the day, you can't control how others see you, but you can control how you see yourself. And when you live in harmony with your values, not to impress, but to be authentic, the validation that matters most will come from within. When you stop letting your emotions be controlled by how others perceive you, your self-worth is no longer held hostage by praise or criticism. Sure, you still remain open to feedback. That's healthy, but you no longer live for it. And that kind of freedom, it's the doorway to living a life that's truly yours. Letting go of the need for outside approval means you start making choices that genuinely fulfill you, not the choices that simply look good on paper or earn a few extra likes on social media. It means living in alignment with your deepest values, even if those choices aren't always understood or celebrated by the crowd. The Stoics taught us that authenticity doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It takes courage. It takes integrity. It means knowing deep down that the only approval you really need is your own. And here's the beauty of it. Once you stop chasing external validation, you start attracting the right people and the right opportunities. Your relationships become more honest, more meaningful, because they're built on genuine mutual respect, not surface-level approval. The work you do, the passions you follow, they start to match who you really are inside. So how do you build this kind of inner strength? The Stoic resilience to stand firm without needing applause. Start small. Take a few minutes each day to reflect. Ask yourself, did I live today in a way I respect? That simple question has the power to shift your entire mindset. It builds an inner validation that's far more stable and far more satisfying than anything the outside world could ever offer. Over time, you'll find yourself no longer trying to impress anyone. Instead, you'll live as proof to yourself that you are enough, that you are strong, capable, and worthy, without needing anyone's permission to believe it. Before we wrap up, if you found value in today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with someone who could benefit from these Stoic insights. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let us know how you're applying Stoic philosophy in your life. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Stoic Fantastic for more videos on how to live a more authentic, resilient, and fulfilling life. We've got plenty of wisdom to share, and we want you to be part of our growing community. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. And together, let's keep striving for self-mastery, one Stoic lesson at a time. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Fantastic. We're so glad to have you with us on this journey.